As always, I like to start with this top-down view of the lake and point out just how many rentals there are. There are over 4,000. And when you look at the overview of the numbers, it's really not that impressive. These numbers don't really do anything for me from an investment standpoint. But that doesn't tell the full story of the lake for a number of different reasons. As I've discussed in previous videos, there's a lot going on in this market. What I really like to do is narrow in and focus on a certain section of the lake, like we're going to do here with the Gravois. And once we apply that, we're now narrowed into this section of the lake, and you see that the revenue is 44.1K, which is a little bit above average of the entire lake. We're off to a good start, Gravois arm. So let's go ahead and look at the listings on this data. And as you can see, we only have 220 active listings right now. When you have over 4,000 on the entire lake, and you have this is a pretty big geographic area, you only have 220, that's a pretty good sign that this part of the lake is not oversaturated. If I click on the top short-term rentals button, get your purple dots back, you can see that this is much more spread out than other parts of the lake. And just to show you what I mean, let me turn this filter off. Let's zoom in to Osage Beach. And you can see just these purple blobs that exist right here. And compare that to up here on the Gravois arm, and it's not like that. So let's go back to our overview real quick and make note of our numbers. As mentioned before, everything's just a little bit higher. Good sign about this area. If we drill into the listing information, there's our 220. Folks, less than half a year on both Airbnb and vrbo. That is a mistake. And I do find the bedroom breakout a little bit interesting, where one bedroom, two bedroom make up less than 25% of population in this area. And that's slightly lower than the lake average. And I note that, and I'll show you why a little bit later on. But let's get a little bit specific here and go back to top short-term rentals. You can see up along the Gravois arm here, we do have some pretty good performing properties. Ones making over 100K, and there are some very interesting units in here. For example, this one bedroom, one bath, sleeps 4 that is making 90K a year. But a one bedroom making 90K a year is excellent. But you can see that there are further 3 bedrooms making 80K. Those are solid numbers for this part of the market. And what you want to do really is find a good performing property that is similar to yours, and then click on it and figure out what they got going on to say, hey, what can I do to either match this or beat this? Before we go to wrap up, I want to show you one more thing in the top property section. I'm going to go back up and narrow this down to just 2 bedroom. Remember earlier I said that there appears to be less of the 1 and 2 bedrooms on this part of the lake than others. But you do see another 1 bedroom made 41K, and then you got a 2 bedroom here at 40K. These are pretty solid numbers, hovering right around the lake average for these smaller properties that are a cheaper entry point to get into than some of the larger properties that may be a little bit much for you if you're just getting into this. Okay, let's wrap up and summarize. And the 3 key takeaways I find here: with only 227 of the 4,000 plus active listings on the lake, the Gravois arm covers a large geographic area and avoids concentrated saturations, which we see on the other parts of the lake. We do see that impact revenue. The lower price points of the houses here make this an interesting sweet spot to find a break-even or even profitable lake house, and there appears to be room for smaller 1 to 2 bedroom listings, especially well-run listings offering unique amenities such as hot tubs or extra entertainment. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Catch you next time.